You had a press conference yesterday that had some additional news. Talk to us about what's going on in this case.
Absolutely. We have been preparing for a long time to move forward what we talked about yesterday, which is Project Greenwood, which is the most comprehensive, sweeping plan to repair Greenwood and to move the city of Tulsa forward. And obviously, once
Mm.
we found out in September that the DOJ was going to do their review, we wanted to see what they had to say. We do appreciate them, saying, reaffirming what we already knew. We were thoroughly disappointed that they decided not to utilize their power to bring charges against the city and other entities that are still around. So yesterday we released our recommendations or our plan, Project Greenwood, which is a plan that we've already shared with the city of Tulsa and our new mayor, Monroe Nichols, and had several meetings with him over the last couple of months. He came out yesterday publicly. I think you saw his statement that he supports a substantial amount of our plan. And so we're very excited that finally we believe after almost 104 years, there will be some justice for those who suffered the massacre and the continuing harm.
That is absolutely amazing. Now talk
Yes,
to
it is
us
amazing.
about because there's something about getting other people to do what's right, and that matters on its own. But then there's the capacity for us to do for ourselves what we must to pull us into the right direction. Talk to us about the components of Project Greenwood and what this plan will produce.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so excited to talk to you about it. And for anyone that's listening and want to look at it as I'm talking about this, go to justiceforgreenwood.org /Project Greenwood, justiceforgreenwood.org /Project Greenwood. You can actually sign a little note to our mayor saying that, hey, you support Project Greenwood. Well, first of all, we start with the basis that number one, Project Greenwood is good for the survivors and descendants, and it's also good for the city of Tulsa because it moves us all forward. Second, it
Mm.
is legal, and this is very important, particularly in the environment we're in here with the start of the new administration. When I say
Right.
this is legal, because it's not based upon race, it's based upon
Mm.
harm. It's harm based. So there are individuals within the Greenwood community, very few, but there are even some individuals in our Justice for Greenwood coalition who are not African American. We have one Mexican American for sure, and some few others. So it's very important that we understand this is not race based; it is harm based. And what we're saying here is number one, the first thing that must happen with Project Greenwood is we must compensate the two living survivors who are both 110 years old. We're talking about Mother Viola Ford Fletcher, who will be 111 in May, and
Mm.
Mother Leslie Benefield Randall, who will be 111 in November. And as I said
Wow.
yesterday, in our press conference, and I've said to the city, it would be a tragedy of unspeakable and unimaginable consequences for these two women to pass away and not see justice. So that's the first component of our plan. The second component is a victims' compensation fund to pay for the outstanding property claims. Okay, Lurie, this is not something we're saying, we're bringing this out of the air. We have right now today $72 million in outstanding property claims. We know who these
Wow.
claims were made by. We know what they lost. We know what they're worth, and they should be paid. Third, we're
Mm.
asking that the city creates a business program for verified descendants. Greenwood, one of the things of the massacre, it destroyed over 200 businesses.
Mm.
Over a third of those businesses were never rebuilt. And none of those businesses, zero, that were around during the massacre are still in operation of today because of the ongoing harm of the
Wow.
massacre. So a business fund, a scholarship program for massacre survivors, and I mean massacre descendants. And this program is very unique because you don't have to live in Tulsa to get this particular scholarship. If you are a verified descendant, which is something our organization does, we verify descendants. If you're a verified descendant and you live in New York where you are, Lurie, and you want to come to school in Tulsa, that scholarship will pay for that. And it does not have to be college. It can be
Mm.
vocational, it can be trade school, whatever. If you're a verified descendant, you'll be eligible for this. We're asking for immunity from taxes. One of the most unequitable things that occur, unjust things that occur with the massacre is that you have people that have been owed something from the city for over 100 years, yet they've been paying taxes, utilities, and expenses to the very entity that owes them money. So if you're a verified descendant, you live here in the city of Tulsa, you should be immune for utility bills, taxes, or expenses. We're asking
Mm.
for a land audit. There is land that the city of Tulsa acquired, we believe, because of the massacre. Do a land audit, and if you see that this land was acquired because of the massacre, that land should be given back to the rightful owners, or pay fair market value to those families. So I'm gonna stop there. I got a few other proposals that are part of Project Greenwood, but I want to give you a chance to react to what I've said so far.
I mean, if you could see, I'm not on camera today because of
Yeah, I
reasons.
don't see
But
it.
if you could see my face, the smile that I have is so big because this feels like self-empowerment. It feels like navigating the realities of the circumstances that we find ourselves in a way that's going to be able to really provide some relief for the community. Talk to us about the way that the people of Greenwood are feeling about this project.
We're optimistic. Let me just say, we're actually overjoyed for our mayor
Wow.
to come out, the first
I
African
hear the
American
joy in your
mayor.
voice.
Oh,
I
well,
think we
yeah,
can
because
all
we,
hear
we
the shift in your own tone.
well, listen, I've been doing this for over 25 years. It'll be 28 years in the fall. I've been doing this, and we've suffered
Wow.
so many losses along the way. And honestly, we've never been this close to actually getting something substantial for our people who suffered the massacre. And for our Mayor Monroe Nichols, I want to shout him out and want everybody to understand the courageous leadership that he's showing on this issue. That's why I want everyone to go to justiceforgreenwood.org/Project Greenwood and want to send him a note that you support what we're doing and support him. Because for him to come out yesterday publicly and said he supports substantial aspects of our plan and he looks forward to working with me and Justice for Greenwood to implement this in the next coming weeks, we are overjoyed.
Wow. And I don't want to say it because I don't want to create legal issues, but it feels like a reparative approach to injustice that has continuing lingering effects. Would you see it that way, or do you see it differently?
No, absolutely, that's what it is, and this goes beyond. And actually, I've been wanting to do this for some time. I've had this plan available for some time. It was really the basis of our litigation, and we just never got a chance to really discuss it because we were fighting for our lives to keep the litigation alive. The basis of it is reparatory justice. It is something that repairs the harm, but also can provide true healing and conciliation to move forward as a community, not just here in Tulsa, because this plan will impact descendants throughout this nation. Lurie, as you know, we have over 1,000 descendants in our Justice for Greenwood network, and we believe there are many, many more. This plan will be an impact to all of those individuals who can show that they're verified while allowing this community to move forward. We've moved beyond just saying, oh, we need justice, we need reparations. We have a comprehensive plan that can actually occur. And the way this will be set up, the way we've talked to the mayor, this could be set up in a public-private partnership where there'll be opportunities for corporations and individuals to participate to make sure that we have the funding necessary to see this program through. And let me tell you a few other aspects of Project Greenwood that the community is excited about. We have going to be job preferences for verified descendants who when they apply to work at the city of Tulsa. Also, if you are a descendant-owned business and you are bidding on city contracts, you will receive a preference. Again, it's not based on race. It's based on the fact that you are part of the harmed class that suffered the massacre. And this is something that the city will say, we're going to recognize this. We're also asking the city to build a hospital in Greenwood. There are 13 to 15 hospitals here in the Tulsa area, 0 in the Greenwood, North Tulsa area. We're asking the city to build a level 1 trauma hospital and name it the Dr. A.C. Jackson Memorial Hospital. For those who don't know, Dr. A.C. Jackson was the most prominent African-American doctor at the time of the massacre in the nation, not just in Oklahoma, in the nation. And he was murdered. He is the most high-profile known murder victim. He was shot 3 times in the stomach, and he was allowed to bleed out in internment camps that was set up after the massacre. Not only was he a great surgeon, but he was a great businessman. He owned a hospital in Greenwood, and we currently do not have a hospital. So I can tell you our community is really excited about this prospect. We know this is not all going to happen overnight. We know whatever the mayor comes out and specifically says he's going to do, we're going to have to continue to push for more. But this is an exciting time. I told my team yesterday before our press conference, I feel like we're at the 11-yard line, meaning we got to get another first down to get into the end zone. I feel like yesterday we got the first down with the mayor coming out publicly supporting aspects of our plan. Now we just got to get into that field goal, get into that touchdown, and continue to run through the tape.
Now, I would join you in the football analogy, but my audience knows I don't really know sports, so it would just end up sounding unintelligent. So I'm going to let you have that. But I think what I do understand from what you said is that you're in a really good position to make this thing happen. Now, Damario, I don't want to rain on the parade, but I have to ask the question. Even though you're saying it's harm-based, what is your response to people who are going to say, oh, okay, yeah, it's harm-based, but all the people who were harmed were black, so harm is a substitute for race? How would you respond to something like that?
Well, first of all, I would tell them that that's not true because, again, we have non-African American people that was harmed by the massacre that are part of our coalition and part of our community. And so that's just factually untrue. However, we understand that in this world, particularly with those people that are in power now, facts do not matter. So we fully expect that there will be individuals of bad faith who will bring their arguments, and my legal team are prepared to defend this in front of a court of law. One thing that I am still grateful for is so much has changed and so rapidly, and things are just going really crazy right now in our country. We still have a somewhat functioning legal system that is based upon the law. And I believe that if we can get in front of the right judge that's going to look at the law is very clear that this is a harm-based scenario and it should be able to move forward. Does that mean we're not going to have to fight for it? Of course we're going to have to fight for it. But Lurie, we've been fighting for this for almost 104 years. But this is the first time we've ever had an opportunity to have a partner at City Hall. So it changes the dynamic so much more. And another thing I think we must all remember, I'm a son of Greenwood. Greenwood was built, and I want everybody to think about this as we talk about Black History Month and the time that we're in right now. Greenwood was built with 5 basic pillars: community love, ownership, wealth concentration, a self-determined mind state, and the 5th thing, resiliency. We're resilient. So we're willing to go through the fire. We're willing to fight. We're willing to take lawsuits and take losses. We're willing to go to the Supreme Court and get denied. We're willing to go to Congress and get denied. We're willing to go to the State House and get denied. And yet we keep coming. So whatever the challenge may come, we will be prepared for it. And speaking of that, there was 3 other aspects of our plan that I want to tell you about. And the first one is this: because of the attack on our history, on the attack on Black history, we have asked the city of Tulsa to designate June 1st of each year as the holiday, an official city holiday, to recognize the massacre and the resilience of our people to move forward. I have no doubt in my mind that that is going to happen. And this is a way that we can guard against these forces that want to take away our history. And for everyone that's listening, that you may have individuals in your cities, your locations, your communities that can be a partner, like Mayor Nichols would be a partner with us. This is something that you can do to guard against the tide that's coming down, trying to wash away our history. But it will not work. We're also asking the city to give us all the records from the massacre. We've been in litigation, as you know, Lurie, for 4 years, just on the records. That's going to happen. I have no doubt about it. And then lastly, we still want a real criminal investigation for the known murders, like Dr. A.C. Jackson, or my new client, the family of C.L. Daniel, who was just identified in July through DNA for the first time in 103 years, a World War I veteran who was found in a mass grave. They've just now identified him. We need closure and justice, and that requires an investigation.
I remember you telling us about that story. I'm trying to make sure I use the right language. The person who was identified, their last name was Daniel, if I recall correctly. Is that right? Yeah, I remember that. That kind of hit me. That hit me hard when you mentioned it. Damario, it feels like even though the route that you were taking has been in many ways closed, it feels as though this is more of a self-determining approach. You were trying to go through the legal system and they were not hospitable to the claims you were making. But this feels like you all are taking this in your own hands in a different way. It feels, the word I'm looking for, I think, is empowered. It feels empowered in a different way.
Well, I think it is, Lurie, because we are again going through these principles. I'll be back on to talk about something else we're doing just for Greenwood that really undergirds what we're talking about here. But we just decided that we were going to take those principles that built Greenwood, and we want to apply that to make sure this happens. And the first thing that we did, and I want everyone that's listening, particularly while we're under assault, from so many directions in this country right now as a Black community. The first thing we must do is you must organize yourself. And when I say
Mm,
organize yourself, if you need to organize yourself with 3 people, and that's all you can get, do it with 3 people. If you can get 5, do it with 5. If you can get 20, whatever. And so the fact that we 5 years ago decided we were going to organize the Greenwood community, we were going to organize the descendant community to a point that everyone could be on one accord. We can have a clear goal, which was justice and reparations, and we may have different tactics to get there. But as an organization, we're communicating with our constituency. We're in lockstep with our people. That allowed us to continue to withstand these losses, but also continue to get the strength, the inspiration, the motivation to continue to move forward to a point that we're here now. And part of our organization was helping to get the new mayor elected. We had to work for that. That didn't just happen
mm.
overnight. That happened through the organization, organizing our community, working with people like my dear sister, Dr. Tiffany Crutcher, the Terrence Crutcher Foundation, and so many, many more, that we got to a point that we have a plan that works. We have an organization of people that's ready to do the work. We have a mayor at City Hall that wants to partner with us. This can happen. And this will be a beacon for all of Black America, because justice for Greenwood is justice for Black people throughout this country.
Mm. I love that, Damario. I absolutely do. Now, talk to us about what we, the community, can do to support this effort. And we only have like a minute or two left, but is there something that we all can do to make this come to life even more effectively?
Absolutely. First of all, go to justiceforgreenwood.org/Project Greenwood, justiceforgreenwood.org/Project Greenwood. Everything I tell you is right there. You'll see right at the top. You can click and say, I support this. You click there, you just put in your information. That's going to go a nice note to our mayor, letting him know that you support this and you support him. And then secondly, I need you to send that to 5 of your friends, justiceforgreenwood.org/Project Greenwood. And then the third thing is make a donation to us. If you can give $1, give $1. If you can give 100, give 100. If you can give 1,000, give 1,000. This work is arduous, and it's expensive, and it's necessary. And we cannot do it without your support, your time, and your treasure.
Damario, we have watched you be the warrior that our community needs, that the Greenwood community needs. This coalition effort, the Justice for Greenwood coalition, you all have been so impressive and persistent. And I am just grateful that we are in a world where folks like you and this coalition exist. And I'm hopeful that you will be able to come back soon and let us know how it's going. I'm sure that Urban View is right now clicking that link and making it happen. But congratulations on what feels as though a move in a self-empowered direction. Really happy for you, and praying that this continues to grow and take root in ways that will allow for some reparative justice to be realized. Thank you so much for being with us today.